Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Teach, Sleep, Repeat. My name is Dylan Price.
And my name is... You all right?
Oh.
You said your surname and it threw me off.
I'm trying to build a personal brand.
Dylan Price.
My name is Dylan Price.
And my name is Hayden still. My surname's not Still. I'm just Still Hayden.
That's a long name.
My name's Hayden Still. My surname's not Still, but it's just Hayden. So
for sure, Mr. S. And we're back with
Mr.
another podcast episode. Are you still Mr. Still?
Yeah, Mr. S, Mr. Still, Stevens. Yeah. I'm still Steve.
Anyway, welcome back to another question and answer episode. You, the listeners, have been submitting your questions. Mr. Still, where can they still get the link from to join our WhatsApp community to be able to give us questions to answer still?
I feel like you answered your own question there, within the question itself. Classic Dylan Price move right there.
Dylan Price, thank you. Build that personal brand.
If you go to the WhatsApp community, Dylan, that just mentioned in the question, and join it and use the link that Dylan just mentioned in the question,
down below,
you can actually submit your questions that we will potentially answer as well. Maybe. Depends if Dylan likes them or not.
I'll tell you one of the reasons why I sometimes think to ourselves, maybe we just need to get our names out there a bit more. We went to the Two Mr. P's show a couple of weeks ago, and it was really, really funny. It was really, really good. Well worth going to see if you if it's coming to a town near you in the future. But the amount of people who walked past us and pointed at me and went, "Teach, Sleep, Repeat." I was like, that's not my given name.
Yeah, and you got really angry.
No, I didn't.
You started shouting at him. You did. It was really embarrassing. He was like, "That's not my name." All right, Dylan. They're just fans.
Completely fabricated fans.
But I agree. Quite often people are just like, hilarious. Which one are you again? We know you're those guys, but we just don't know who's who. Yeah.
I don't mind, actually. People shouted Teach, Sleep, Repeat. I was like, yeah, shout it to the rooftops. But it's really good. And if you were there, it was so nice to meet you.
It was.
Thank you for chatting. It was really lovely. Anyway, we have gone through all of the submissions. We've got so many. Here's the first question. Hi guys, love the podcast. You have really assisted me in managing the work-life battle all teachers have, so thank you for that. My question is, how would you approach senior leadership around staff morale and expectations? Our team are working really well with their new classes since September, and there is a lot to celebrate. However, we seem to be bombarded with more work due to this.
It's a really tricky one, isn't it? We've said a lot on this podcast that if you just treat your staff right, they'll all want to do things for you anyway. It's all like nice, but that's not necessarily how reality works, because I can think of some schools right now where they're nice places to work, but still you can't then just expect your staff to just do extra. Mm-hmm. Like people will still then get their back up, even though, I can imagine some head teachers will be like, oh, but I've done these nice things for you.
Right.
Our morale was really high before and everything's going really well. So now surely you want to do these extra things.
Right.
And the problem I find is, the bar is the bar. Like, there is just no situation where you can actually just expect your staff to go above and beyond the contract and what every staff member's already doing stuff outside of school. So even when you're the nicest school in the world, as soon as you have any hint of expectation of like, oh yeah, this is so lovely to work here. Do you remember that time where I took you all out for that staff thing? We had this great time, didn't we? And everyone gets this thing, or this lovely loo policy. Yeah, need you all to run a club on the weekend.
Yeah.
And people are still going to be like, oh, no.
Yeah.
No. And you're within your right to do that. And the problem is, I imagine this person's feeling awkward about it because they're thinking, well, things are going well, but does that can they take advantage of me now? Like, is that okay to do?
Yeah. It's like you've hit the nail on the head. Like, it seems from this question that because things are going well and swimmingly, leadership can look at that sometimes and be like, oh, sick. So let's do all this. Absolutely right. You can be like, well, let's do X, Y, Z as well then. And we're going to bombard them with more because they can clearly take it. It's like that classic example of often who is seen as the strongest teacher might be given the toughest class. You're thinking, what a reward. What a reward for me potentially being one of the stronger teachers in the school. Oh yeah, we'll give it to that person because she's really good with behavior management. So we'll give her the hardest class. Well, you have just kind of signed me off for the year with a really, really tricky class that's going to give me, these feelings of overwhelm and tire me out massively because I have to go above and beyond to do stuff. I think you hit the nail on the head. I always treat it with a bit of trepidation because I think it is different. I think it's very different to these very strict schools you get sometimes, which are, whipping their teachers into line. You have to do all of this all of the time. We all know that's bad. We've called that out a million times. So we have to have more nuance here in terms of it's obviously good when you're in a school that treats their staff really well. But I get like, I don't know what the saying is, like squeaky bum almost, like, ooh, when it's kind of laughed about and gone, haha, so please do all this though. being applauded for having the correct line in your staff's work-life balance and the morale being great, being applauded for that is fantastic. And you should say, well done, because it's so easy to go past that. But like you said, that's the line. It doesn't mean then you can go past it again. It should mean, cool, that's where we're working at. The biggest example always for me is like stuff at the weekend. It doesn't matter. Like, you know, at the start of my career, I went to so many cross countries. I went to so many football tournaments. I wanted to do it. I knew it was extra. They asked me. I said yes. But then it got to a point in my life where I thought, okay, the answer is now no. And it could be no for a number of reasons. It was no for me before I had children.
Yeah.
Because I had a tutoring company.
You had me to look after.
I had you to look after. I need to make sure you're okay at the weekend. But, you know, and even it could be no because in my own head, I don't want to. It doesn't matter what the because is. But the answer became no. So I stopped doing it. Okay. That's also fine. So as soon as you start looking and going, well, the kids are missing out. Oh, but we're not going to be able to run this thing on a Saturday anymore. No, we're not.
Yeah.
Okay, is it that important? Is it that important to you? Yeah, it's great. Of course, it's important to me. I want the kids, me personally, I'm talking about now. I really want the kids to get as much as they can. Of course I do. I want every kid to have a lovely hearty meal in the evening. I'm not going to go around and be their personal chef. Do you know what I mean? Like, there is just a point where you just go, something can be nice, but I can say no to it. And it doesn't mean that I'm a bad person. And it certainly doesn't mean that I'm not fulfilling the role of my job. There is no point on the pay scale, whether it's in the main pay scale, the upper pay scale, TLR, whatever it is, there is no point in any of that where you look at your contract, which should justify you having to do something at the weekend.
But you're UPS 3.
Doesn't matter.
You're UPS 3, so I'd expect you to be coming to the odd cross country and running the odd club at the weekend.
Yeah, okay, that's fantastic. And you might have come to an agreement with someone where they agree to do that. But UPS 3 or whatever it might be, there's no pay range that says you should be giving up your time outside of working days. It has to be a choice. You might not like that. You might think that's really frustrating. Every single person in the room might think it's objectively better for children to be able to do a football tournament at the weekend.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean, though, that you just say to someone, well, you got to do it then.
Yeah.
No, you have to hold the line. Staff morale is important, end of question. It doesn't mean you can then use it against your staff to say, well, remember when we got rid of that marking policy? Yeah, I do. And it was great. And it brought it down to where it should be.
Yeah.
You can't then say, so therefore bump it up at the week. No.
Yeah, it reveals that your line was always way higher than the actual where it should be anyway, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I've brought you're only doing 3 hours of extra work a week now instead of 10. So those 7 hours that I've saved, I've now I put towards this. It's like, no, sorry.
Yeah.
The bar, you were trying to get back down to 0, right? You weren't, there's no increase.
Yeah.
You should only be trying to decrease it. Yeah, it's a tough one. And it is particularly hard when you work in a school that is generally nice. It's really hard to say no. You don't want to let people down. And it's personal at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Like, you know these people. You work with these people. You probably know the head teacher really well if you worked at this school for a long time. You don't actually want to disappoint them or make them feel rubbish or make them be annoyed at you. But you just have to remember the contract.
So how would you approach it then? How would you approach it? Because you're absolutely right. I don't think these are bad people all the time. Who are saying things like, guys, we need someone to do it the weekend.
Yeah.
They're really good people probably because they're looking out for the kids. But how do you approach that then? Just to answer this question directly before we move on.
Yeah, sure.
You're in that situation. You're really get on with your leadership team. You know they're good people. And they're saying, you have to do it. Come on, someone has to do it the weekend. How would you approach that genuinely, or say to someone they should approach it?
If it was that exact example of the weekend, I'd say, basically what you just said there, I'd say, let's just remind ourselves, someone doesn't have to do that. No one's contract stipulates that we should be working at the weekend. It is really nice, and I'd probably give the same example as you and say, it would also be really nice if we did X, Y, and Z, but we don't have the staff to do that because no one's paid to do that, and we shouldn't be making people feel bad because they don't want to give up their extra time, and I'm not prepared to make myself feel bad. And you could even chuck in, if you really want, I don't think you should ever have to give reasons, but if you want to like really hit home, a lot of people will say things like, so you'd like me to sacrifice time with my own children at the weekend to come and do this? You'd like me to sacrifice time with my own family or sacrifice X, whatever it is that you're doing, to do that and make it real and be like, because just remember what you're asking me is unreasonable. This is not part of my contract. And that's it. And then they just say, I'm sorry, but I'll continue doing my job to a really high standard within the remit of the job. And if you want to change things within the job boundaries, I can't really complain. I can have my opinion, but ultimately, if it's in directed time, you want me to do X, but I want to do Y, well, okay, that's a different conversation to you saying outside of this contract time. So sorry, but I'm not going to be able to fulfill that. I know it's a bit disappointing, but we'll have to think of another solution.
Absolutely. I think that's the right way to go about things. have to be brutally honest and clear.
Yeah.
That's what I'd say to people is be clear, be honest. Don't try and pussyfoot around it and say, oh no, because I've got this at the weekend. Well, that means you have to make up something else next time. You have to make up something else next time. The answer can just be no, because of this.
And I think there is a small thing, just think about this question, because I feel like we've kind of gone off on one there. There is a small part to say, in other jobs, I imagine people not teaching listen to this being like, well, if I was in my job, right, and I had this project, and actually I did it in half the time because things are going really well, it would be reasonable for my boss to say, well, I didn't expect you to do that job this quick, but you are paid for 10 hours and you've done it in 6. So here's another bunch of stuff now you can do in those other 4 hours. Those people would be like, I wouldn't be able to just say, no, I did the job quicker. My morale's really high because I did it quicker. Now I should have those 4 hours off. Do you think there's any comparison between that example and what you think is happening in teaching?
I think the biggest issue we have with teaching when it comes to people outside of the job looking in and saying those kinds of things, always happens in my job. I always go above and beyond. I always do the extra stuff. Is you have to remember that built into this job, we're already doing extra. This is what I always say to people. It's like, I'm like beating this drum against the wall. There isn't a situation where a teacher isn't already doing stuff outside the contracted hours, okay? And that is stuff that directly links to what's happening in the classroom. I've got to plan my lessons. I've got to mark based on the school's marking policy. I've got to have meetings with parents about, needs of children in the class. I do parents' evenings. I do open evenings. All this kind of stuff that's linked to the actual being in the classroom, delivering my role. I'm already doing that extra, and that is baked into the contract that we have to do a bit extra. So whenever anyone says, well, I'd do extra, I'd be like, yeah, I do.
Yeah,
I do extra. But when we're talking specifically about directed weekend work of doing stuff outside of my job, outside of my contract, there is no justification in the world to say that I should do it. You could say that maybe it's a nice thing to do. You can say maybe it's good for the kids. You can put an argument forward to describe anything almost. Okay, do you run an under-9s football club? Mr. Bricklayer, who doesn't have a child in that team? Do you run that club?
Yeah.
No, of course you don't. Of course you don't do that. I don't think you're a bad person, but if you did it, I'd be like, good on you, mate. That's quality.
That's nice.
Well, that's really lovely. Well done, pal. But if you don't, I don't demonize you.
No.
I don't say it's going to, you might have to go on a capability plan then for your building work. It's nothing to do with it.
No.
It's separate. And this is what's sad about this situation. Sometimes people feel like they can't do that because they think then they'll be targeted. As soon as they say no to these clubs outside of school, that's weird. There's 3 people who said no. Within 2 months, they're on a capability plan. Because of their planning of their maths, because they're being targeted.
Yeah.
Because it's not easy sometimes to speak up and say no about these things, but you have to do it. And as a staff, you have to do it collectively. And I'll say this again, I'm going to be really clear. If you're the kind of person who goes above and beyond and does all of this stuff, you are a lovely person that's doing really good things for the kids. But you have to be the first person in that meeting saying, I'll do this, but Mike, you should absolutely not expect anyone to.
Yeah.
And you need to be defending your colleagues, and you have to be a front on this. And you have to understand that you're not wearing this amazing badge of honor and doing an amazing thing, and you're not better than everyone because of this. You're doing a good thing that should be celebrated, but you have to defend your staff. Don't just watch as they're made to feel like crap because they're not giving up their weekends just because you chose to.
Yeah.
You should be the loudest in the room saying, I'll do this, but never ever expect this from anyone. At all.
Yeah. Or me in the future, just because I did it once. I see that happen all the time. It's literally happened with Lauren multiple times because we got a child now, so our lives are very different. Years and years and years ago, Lauren did all sorts of extra. She did because she was part of the PE lead at our school years ago, and she did like a swimming club, and she went to swimming tournaments, and she did speed stacks clubs and tournaments, all this stuff. She did every cross country. Obviously, she just can't do that now. Like she just can't do that now.
Okay, she could. Doesn't want to.
Yeah, and even exactly that. Even if she could,
that's what I mean.
But because it's in the past, I see it all the time. I know people be like, "Oh, you used to love doing this. You can do this again." It's like, well, that's just because I did it in the past. Please don't then assume that my life is very different now, and I was doing that as extra. That wasn't the baseline.
Yeah.
So defend yourself for the future, because honestly, it will come back and bite you if you don't. Like but also defend your staff. Like you've got to protect everyone, including your future self.
The only reason before we move on, I said then she can, is because I want that to be what everyone knows and understands, that you don't have to not be able, you don't have to have a reason that you can't do it to not do it. You could do all of these things, and let's say your Saturday morning is free and you can do it. I want everyone to know still that you shouldn't be forced to just because you can. Could Lauren leave Rivy with you for the morning and go and do? Of course she could.
Of course.
Don't want to though, and it's absolutely fine.
Yeah.
And that's the end of it. It being a can or can't thing, almost irrelevant.
But we did it in the past. Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Yep, completely.
Because I said in the past that don't hold me to account for this. I'm doing this one time,
Yeah.
and I know it's nice and it's extra. But that's it.
Yeah.
You know. Anyway.
Completely. Absolutely right. Right. Next question. What is the most appropriate response to injuring yourself in front of the class? I accidentally shut the tip of my sausage in a filing cabinet and nearly swore. Lots of love, Carl Hickbread. Well,
Oh,
Carl, haven't we all been there?
What a flex, eh? Oh no. How have you done that, mate? Are you telling everyone, are you?
Oh, the filing cabinet on the other side of the room.
Oh.
Gosh.
Yeah, it's so crazy, that filing cabinet that's by my feet. That's mad. That I can't. I don't know how I did that, everyone.
I got it caught underneath this chair. Oh, God. It's so annoying.
Oh, my God. What is the appropriate response?
What's the worst pain you've ever had in the classroom, like with the kids there? Can you remember?
I don't know.
I remember vividly having a nosebleed. It's not pain.
Yeah,
But I remember teaching and just blood starting to pour
what
from my
did you
nose.
do?
I had to just leave the room and
Yeah.
get an adult just to stand at the door and be like, I'll be right back, kids. Luckily, I caught a bunch of it in my hand. But it's not a nice thing, is it, in front of your class? I remember the children noticed before I did.
Oh, really?
So some of the faces I was teaching them, I was like, what do you think? And they were like, you okay? I was like, fine. Just starting to
blood everywhere.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that wasn't necessarily pain. I guess the worst pain I've always felt is trapping your feet when a kid's swinging on their chair.
Oh my God, yeah, that is something else, isn't it?
Insane pain.
Yeah,
right
yeah,
on
yeah.
a toe or like the
Yeah,
little
yeah.
toe at the end. And I
Yeah.
just want to scream.
What's the I think if that was me, I'd be like, oh, now that really hurt, you little. What are you doing? Get out!
I've told you 67 times! Oh, don't say 67!
Whoa.
No, in excruciating pain.
Yeah, I think the appropriate response is to completely lose your rag, go absolutely mad, all professionalism out the window. No, it's a tricky one, isn't it? I think if I actually think about the times that I've been, I've had a couple of migraines. Do you know what I mean? Stuff like that, where you think, do you know what, my head is killing me.
Not
or,
quite get your sausage tip
No,
trapped
not
in a
quite.
filing
You
cabinet.
know, I can't say I've ever done that.
I vividly remember having to walk like into my cupboard because I was in so much pain from my foot. Honestly, I was like, oh, Nick, kids, you crack on your work, please. And I had to go into the room, but like, because it was so excruciating.
That's so funny.
And yeah, I don't know about you, like I think there's a lot of teachers out there who swearing, like again, people watching this podcast, I get the odd thing. Swearing's like it's actually quite a big part of my vocabulary, like outside of school.
Yeah.
I swear probably a bit more than the average person.
A bit more.
A bit more.
Quite a lot more.
Because, well, the point being, like, it's just what I grew up with. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's
yeah.
just like, I heard swearing all the time. So it's like kind of just within my vocabulary. And my first thought in my head, it took me a long time to learn this in school because the first thing that always came to my head was like, oh, fucking hell. Like, if something annoyed me, I'm like, for fuck's sake. Like, sorry, all the beeps in this episode.
Yeah.
But so I had to really train myself to not do that.
Yeah.
And I found, I don't know about you, when I do my teaching, like if you go into our YouTube channel where we're like modeling stuff or like doing maths or English or anything like that, if I watch it back, I'm like, that's not me. Like you go into like an act, don't you? And it's the same with like the reaction
But
to like
even this
pain.
to an extent, because we try not to swear, obviously, with a couple of swear words, but we do actively think.
You should see the
I'm not
bloopers.
gonna, sometimes
This episode.
we have stopped in the past because we've been like, I didn't actually want to swear there. I don't want to bleep it out. We've redone a bit.
Yeah.
I thought of one whilst you were talking. At the time I was in pain. It actually,
I only talked because I knew you needed time to think about these
and
things,
it came to me. You probably saw me start like giggling to myself when you were mid talking.
Go on.
So it's very linked to this in a way because it was only a couple of years ago. Sausage roll. It was I ate sausage roll. It really hurt my stomach. No, it was outside, and we're playing with those. They're like rugby ball shape with a bit of a tail.
Oh,
whistlers that you throw them. I don't know what they're called.
No, I know what you mean. No.
You know what I
they
mean?
whiz through, don't they?
Yeah, and you can launch them so far.
Yeah.
Just playing with a couple of kids. And one of them threw one at me and hit me right in the privates. Like, you know that absolute sweet spot that's like cripplingly painful.
Yeah.
And I had the massive stomach ache and I was like, oh my God. And they saw they did it. I obviously didn't mean to, but I was brought to my knees, honestly, on the floor. I was in so much pain. And they came over. And all you can do, I feel like, is just say, I'm in a lot of pain. It's going to take me a minute. There's no point pretending you're not and like trying to roll it off. Like, I'm in a lot of pain. That really hurt. It was just an accident. Don't worry. I'm just going to need a minute. And I just honestly had to like stay on my knees for like 30 seconds and then eventually got up and walked it off. It hurt so much.
And the issue is your knees are so bad, you couldn't get up.
Your
knees were excruciating
I
pain.
added to the pain with my knees. But yeah, in that situation, if you injure yourself in front of the class, you've just got to be honest. I think I don't think there's any point in pretending you didn't.
Sorry, kids, my sausage got trapped in the filing cabinet.
Oh, bloody hell. Anyone see my knob get stuck in that cabinet there? Blimey. No, maybe don't say that.
Yeah,
but just
honesty to a degree.
yeah, it depends on what
Yeah.
it is. That's probably the
Or
only
just-
situation.
Just hurt myself.
Yeah.
What did you do, sir? Whoa, just, you know.
Yeah, it's funny
Yeah.
how the one that's written in, is probably one of the rare examples of where you can't actually just say what you've just done and hurt yourself. But
My advice is to be honest and tell them exactly what happened.
exactly.
Apart from the question that we literally
Apart
asked.
from this, this is the worst answer I've ever given.
I remember one time, linked to this, it's not me, but I remember feeling absolutely dreadful because it was like the end of the year. Do you know when you go and play rounders on the field? It's a fell an afternoon. It's like, I'm
Yeah.
not doing this bloody lesson on or whatever it is. There's another bleep for you. I'll just go up to the field. We'll play some rounders. And the kids were playing and they were like, Mr. Price, come on. And their team was losing. I was like, I'll go in their team then. I was thinking I'm this big boy. Yeah, go on. I'll whack
boy
him for a
Price.
rounder. Get one with my
Big boy Pricey
big boy Price
coming up
coming in. And so this kid underarm threw it to me, ready,
Yeah.
and I smashed it. I absolutely smashed
Oh,
it.
please don't say you hit
Hit
someone.
his throat.
Oh no!
Hit
What?
the boy's
What?
throat. Hit the boy's throat.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
of
hit him
all
in the
places.
throat. Couldn't, like, of all the places in the world, like, where is Adam's apple? Like, right there. And I was like, this is the worst thing that's ever happened to me.
That is
So,
awful.
you know, immediately, like, I was like, oh God, what do I do here?
mad.
Because there's no need for me to have been in this
Yeah,
situation.
yeah.
I was literally just going in to just get a rounder and be like,
Did you get
hey,
one?
kid, no.
You didn't even get around
No, I
her.
didn't even around. Yeah,
Oh
I
my
left the kid
God,
in the
was it
middle
worth it?
on the floor.
Oh no!
One second, God, run.
Whilst running.
Running
Someone
around.
help him!
No, I'm just gonna help him.
Sprinting.
It's just you here. Shh. Class first aider. Off you go. So I got the rounder. we
Meanwhile,
won.
you got 5 rounders.
Yeah.
Kept going around. 5 rounders it counts, guys. That's 5. 5 for this team.
We win. We win. Do you want to go in to get a wet paper towel on that? But anyway, I spoke to mum afterwards and I was like, I'm so sorry. We were playing rounders and it literally happened. And this kid was...
How'd you even say that?
I know.
I
literally.
punted your son in the throat with a full pelt adult swing rounders.
Yeah, but essentially. It wasn't a rounders ball, okay?
Yeah.
It was a tennis ball, which
Okay,
is,
okay.
you know, less hard. But
Hmm.
yeah, it wasn't nice. Obviously, I was like, mate, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Spoke to mum. Mum was fine. He was fine as well. He actually found the funny side of it.
Yeah.
Because he was the one goading me because he was the bowler as well. He's like, yeah, come on then. That showed him, didn't it? Right. Sorry. But yeah, mum was fine about it. It all went through.
Good aim.
So I felt absolutely awful.
Yeah.
So in that situation, again, honesty is the best policy. I wanted to show off in front of some 8-year-olds actually, and I into the throat.
And it worked though, didn't it?
It did work.
You did show off, and everyone will remember that. So
No one ever forgot that game around us.
no.
In a jiffy.
yeah, that's so funny, honestly.
All right. Anyway, next one. How to be a good teacher when you have a cold and feel all round rubbish instead of just being a miserable old cow. I feel so guilty when I get home, even though I've not been horrible, just not my normal bubbly self. But I just find it so difficult when all I want to do is just lie on the sofa and recover and recuperate.
Did you write this in? Because you are quite snotty
Anyone
right now.
listening to me right now?
sound awful.
No, mate, I'm not a teacher anymore.
The fact that just hold on, just before you read that question, we had to cut because Dylan needed to cough off camera because he feels so rubbish. That's hilarious. How do you be a good teacher? I don't know. It's a weird one, isn't it? Like you're still a good teacher if you're a bit poorly. It doesn't make you.
You're not.
I mean, I'm not a good teacher anyway
Because
because I'm not a teacher anymore.
Hey, woo.
Go on, you go.
No, I'm just gonna say that I think you know it's something we said recently about every single day that you're a teacher. There's 190 days you're with the children. There's absolutely no way every day can be on the same level.
No.
It's impossible. It's just human nature that we have peaks and troughs. And being ill is going to be one of those troughs. And you have to understand that you did what you could. Did you maximize what you could have done that day? Well, with the cold and feeling like crap, yeah, I did actually. Maybe it wasn't at that level where if I'm firing on all cylinders. But for that day, in that situation, I did what I could. And I think if you reframe it like that, my advice would be not to maybe change what you're doing at all, but just change your reframing of what's going on.
Yeah.
Because beating yourself up about it when you're ill, if you went into school still, let's say you're not contagious, but you just feel a bit run down, and in those situations, you should still go in if you're not going to make anyone else ill. Absolutely. I don't think you should just take days off willy-nilly. But if you've done that, you've gone in, done your best for the kids, left everything on the table, get home, feel like crap still, I'm sure you've put in a good shift.
If you ever felt like that, when you felt like that in the past, were you quite honest with the kids? Because I always found, because they're such a nice, you build
yeah.
like that personal relationship with the kids. I'd just say to them, guys, I'm feeling a bit run down today. I might not be doing things exactly as
And they
normal.
took massive advantage of you.
Huge
Oh,
advantage of it,
okay,
yeah.
licking our lips. Right, we got him. Mr. Still is still ill.
Oh, chucking things at me. Well, doesn't mean you can throw things at me. I can still see that.
I was quite proud of my Mr. Still is still ill. You didn't really.
Sorry, I was too busy
that's
thinking of
it,
my next
that's
line.
fine. Not really a
Mr.
conversation
Still.
we have, is it?
No.
Just two separate
Yeah,
thought
it is.
trains, and we're just
Yeah.
waiting for the other person
It's
to
like
stop.
kids at nursery, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's like they're
yeah,
just all
parallel,
there,
parallel play,
playing.
not actually interacting. I've got everything I want to say. You've got everything you want to say. We just go back.
And it's just a battle. Who do you like the most? Like me the most? Like me more? Like me more? Listeners like me. Not Dylan.
If you like Hayden more, leave us a review. If you like me more, leave us a review.
Oh, that was clever.
I wonder which one.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, that's good.
If you think Dylan's funny, leave a review. That's not,
Oh,
it's not funny. It's not. I can think of it.
Thing
Right?
is, you got editorial, snip, final cut on this. You can just cut it out. Right. Anyway, so that's me. I'd be reframing it. I'd be like, you can have crap days. In terms of being honest with the kids, yeah, jokes aside, absolutely. The amount of times I would say to the kids, guys, I've got a banging headache right now. Sometimes I said it when I didn't, just because it worked so well.
They'd respect you.
So like every now and then, you'd be like, guys, I can't really speak loudly because my voice, and I've just got a bit of a headache. Yeah, but in general, they're actually quite good. Not like you'd be horrendous to teach.
Yeah,
but in general, they're just like, oh, okay, and they crack on. So yeah, I've used it sometimes, even when I've not been ill.
And if you are genuinely too ill, as Dylan said many times in the past, the best thing you can do to be a good teacher is not come in. Honestly, there is a point where the literal best thing you can do is just not be in school spreading your illness.
Yeah,
just stay at home and then recoup quicker, and then you can come back in.
110 million%.
Wow.
Next up, I'm new to maths leadership after 9 years leading English, and I have a very old school colleague who is very resistant to change. But maths is an area of weakness at my new school. Any advice for this and maths leads in general?
Very tough one. Really, really hard when you've got a member of staff who just blocks everything. Like it's very, very, very hard because you almost cannot get around that without just being like, well, I'm putting my foot down. Like this is how it's going to happen.
Okay, straight away, before we get into this then, do you not think that we sometimes champion that a bit too much?
Champion what?
Saying no. How many times have we said, don't just change things all at once, willy-nilly. Don't just do all that. It's going to increase my workload massively. These changes sound like, changes in maths fundamentally will increase workload. We are very big advocates of people being like, say no. Someone hearing you at that point saying, oh, it's tough when people just say no, isn't it? Feels to me kind of hypocritical.
Yeah.
So how would you address that?
I think that's fair enough. I think that's completely fair. I'm going in with the mindset here that this person is making a reasonable change. So maybe I shouldn't have presumed that.
No, but okay, so even if it's not a reasonable change, let's say maths is dire. Let's say change is needed.
Yeah.
It's literally needed in this school because it is dire. Is change bad then? Like, all I'm trying to coax out of you is this idea of, okay, it's all well and good saying no to stuff all the time, like we seem to champion. But I don't feel like that's our message.
No, I don't think so either.
So how would you clarify it? Because I think sometimes it can come across like it would be very fair for someone to say, well, you guys always say no.
Yeah.
Why are you talking about colleagues like they're blocking stuff, like they're bad? You've literally said to me before, if you're doing wholesale changes, then just hold your horses a bit.
Okay.
So just on that then, how are you framing this straight away?
Let's be really clear, because I think when we say about saying no and putting your foot down and saying, I'm not going to do this, we are always doing it under the caveat of the change that's coming or the thing that's being asked of you is completely unjustified and unreasonable. And you can point to something and go, this is why this massive increase in my workload will have no impact. So therefore, I'm not going to do it. Or
it even does have an impact, but it's alongside 7 changes.
And it's disproportional, right? As well. There's two ways of doing that. There's 15 things happening at once, and you're saying, look, these are all great, but I can only do 1 or 2 of these things at any given time. So we need to rethink about what the structure is of how we're going to make this change over time, right? That's completely reasonable. And the other thing is, I can see that might make a slight impact. It will take me 10 hours and it will make 1% difference, at which point I'm going to argue to you that this is completely unfair and unreasonable because it will impact my time outside of the job, completely outside directed time. And that's when you can start saying no and putting your foot down. I'll be really, really, really clear of that. But if you're simply in a situation where maths is in a dire situation, and the maths lead is saying, I've got a plan for the next 2 years, I've got a plan for the next year, and they've thought about this being reasonable. It's not an unreasonable amount of extra workload. Like we do as teachers, we are simply expected to plan and deliver lessons. That planning sometimes does take a bit longer than other times. There is a bar, when it goes way beyond that, that's when we're saying you can say no at this point. But if it's within the remit of the job, which is ultimately you need to deliver effective lessons to children, that is your job, and the planning is dire and everything about maths is dire so far, as a maths lead, you should be able to say, here's the plan. Here's our school improvement plan for the next 2 years. This is the first thing we're going to work on. I'm going to deliver some staff training, or I'm going to get some training in. I've got some resources here. I've done a bunch of the work for you as a maths lead, and this is what you need to do now to implement this change. We'll review it in 3 months, and then we'll move on to our next step. And someone's just saying, I'm not doing that. Okay,
I really appreciate the clarity, because that is bang on what I think as well. So that's really clear then. So in this situation, what would you give advice then for these maths leads? Because I think you've mentioned something there about, a time frame. I think giving a really clear time frame
Yeah.
can help get people on board. I think all of the things you've talked about are very, very clear to me. Okay. I really want to narrow down into, you are literally working with someone who just has the mindset that what you're doing is bad.
Yep.
And it's not. Let's just say it's not. It does need revamping, but they've been doing it for 25 years. They say it works for me. It's great. But as a school, you do just need to move in this direction.
Mm-hmm.
How do you convince them that a different way might actually not only be better, but not be so bad for them to implement?
Yeah, sure. I think there's 3 prongs to this. Number 1 is actually talk to this person, develop a genuine relationship with this person so they can actually like talk to you and trust you. I think if you don't do that bit, a lot of leaders don't do that. And he's like, it's just like talking to a brick wall. You don't know who you're talking to. Develop a relationship with them. Number 2, do it yourself. Like actually show them.
Yeah.
You need to give them something. You can't just say this is going to work in my ideological world. Show them. Maybe you've been doing it for a couple of months already, whatever this change is, and literally put the comparison in front of them and say, look, this is what we're doing before. There's some pros and cons to what you're doing, and this is really great, but these areas are really weak. And actually, look at the way we're doing it here. We can maintain these pros that you like about what you were doing it, and we can really develop these weaknesses. And I've done it for 2 months, and have a look. Don't you agree? Show them. And my third prong is back it up in research as well. If presumably you're doing this because you've learned about it from somewhere, show them that as well. Say, this is why we're doing it. It comes from all this research here, all these studies have shown it's really effective. This is me doing it. And you can see the comparative effect here and how good it is. And also, I'm talking to you face to face, and we can arrange some more time to talk if you want to go through it. And I'm happy to continue developing this positive relationship with you so that we can make the change we actually need to make in our school. As a leader, I feel like circling around those 3 things, you can generally turn people onto your side because they realize you're not just some top-down pressure who wants to make a name for themselves, and you don't really care about what you're doing. You just want to be the guy that's put their foot down and controlled everyone in the school, because I think that's what people think sometimes. You're actually just a reasonable person who wants to develop the quality of teaching and learning in your school. And 99.9% of teachers, when they realize that that is your true motive, will actually be on your side, because guess what? That's what they want to do as well. They just want to be good teachers.
Do you think there's much room for compromise as a leader? I've always found this really, really fascinating, to be honest. You talked about not wanting to be the leader who comes in and puts their foot down and said, this is better, do this, because it can ruffle some feathers. However, there might be some situations where it is better. It just is better. And you just, as teachers, you just don't like change. You've done it your way. It works for you, but there is a better option out there. Is there room for compromise? Like, because I'd say to leaders out there, maths leads, especially, I'm coming from my kind of point of view of maths, the amount of times where we've implemented things, we've said, right, we're going to use this. Here's your freedom. And we've said, here's the structure and maybe the progression that we have to map across. There's certain stuff that I, as a maths lead, need to implement. I have to put this in place, guys. I need to make sure that in a year 3 classroom to a year 4 classroom to a year 5 classroom, the individual child is getting a really good, sensible progression. I have to make sure there's coverage across the curriculum. I have to make sure that what we're doing in terms of how we're recapping basics and fundamentals, and how we're moving on to the lesson and covering the curriculum, and how we're doing interventions, and how we're looking at data and filling gaps, that also needs to be consistent. I need to know that's happening. But is there room for compromise then? Because you're coming in and saying, this is better, this is better. Should we be still building in, and as a leader saying to staff, but do you know what? If you feel the need to do this, then do it. Or do you think there has to be, from the top down, all across, you convincing them to do it your way?
I think ultimately that's the goal, is top down trying to convince people to do it away. But I think you cannot do that without compromise. I think it's I think it's literally impossible. I think you have to look at your staff team as a leader and consider everyone on a personal, individual level. There just will be some people, and there's so many reasons you could go through, some less valid to some more valid reasons as to why someone might not be able to take on that workload right now, or might not even just know how to do it.
But not even workload, literally fundamentally what you're doing. Ignore workload for a second. I'm really pushing in here on, I think as a leader, a maths leader, the amount of times someone said to me, oh, I do this for addition number bond facts and it really works. Like, can I carry on doing this, please? And I've been like, hell yeah, that's awesome. Like, it's not necessarily what I put forward in my plan, but that's a really good thing that's helping the children improve in that. And you've noticed it and it works well for you. Someone else might say, well, for times tables, I do this with my class because I've got a leaderboard and it's really competitive. The class are competitive together. It's not a school-wide thing. You say do this for times tables, but can I just do that? And I've been like, yeah, that's great practice. What I'm talking about is individual teachers who have their own ideas and things that work well for them. I think I'd disagree slightly, and I'd say that is fundamentally part of being a good leader.
Yeah.
And it's not just about convincing everyone to do it my way. It's about being a team. I've maybe got the expertise in what's good and what's bad in general, but I can't pretend that my staff out there, some of them won't know more than me in certain things. When it comes to these little bits and bobs, I think the best leaders look at it and go, do you know what? I'd be changing that for the sake of it, maybe for my own ego, maybe for my own vanity. And sure, it might be rooted in research and I know it works, but do you know what? Clearly that works as well. For the benefit of the class as a whole, the teacher will be happy if they're just doing that. It's 5 minutes a lesson. It's working great for the kids. I'm not going to say no to you. And I think that's where I'm talking about compromise. It's like,
Sure.
I might have this 100% utopian idea of in my head what everything should look like all the time. And I can see then when people push back, why leaders might go to that. Well, I've tried to convince you. It's not working now. Tough. You're all doing it this way. I think the best leaders go through that process of trying to convince people to do stuff. But on the way, they go, yeah, I'll concede that. That's cool. Bring that in. Cool. And by the end, you're looking at maybe 80% of what you wanted, 5% of this teacher, 2% of that teacher, And even not just everyone does stuff that teacher does now, but just the freedom to say to your staff, this is what we're doing. We have to, it's fundamentals here. We have to do this coverage. We have to have this progression. But if you want to do your times tables like that, let's do it and feedback. And we'll see, I'll say to everyone, look at this great practice. Try this out. Look at that great practice. There can't be one way to do something.
I think that's absolutely fine. I don't disagree with what you said at all. I think I was very much going down the lens of assuming the thing that people are doing is simply not good enough.
Sure.
Whereas I think in that situation, I think that is the ultimate outcome. It still stays true to what I'm saying, because what I'm saying is ultimately you want to convince everyone to be doing the best thing for the kids. If they happen to already be doing something that you would say is equally good for the kids, then of course you're going to compromise and let them carry on. If the compromise is, I really want to do this thing and it's absolutely objectively terrible for the kids, you're not going to be like, all right, you can do that one thing. I've got 80% good stuff now. 3% of it though is absolutely dire. The thing they're doing for their times tables is blow dart maths. It's absolutely dreadful for the kids. I wouldn't compromise on
New
that
listeners,
thing.
I think it was.
Do you know what I mean? Like the compromise.
Do you know what you've made? I'm thinking of a separate thing.
Yeah,
you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right, because I guess I got my back up a little bit in that situation of just like, I think you're just trying to convince them to be your way. I guess maybe we can come to some kind of middle ground here, which is just like you're trying to get the best out for the kids. And everything you said, I think, answers this question really good. We kind of moved on a little bit to, as a leader, what your advice would be.
Yeah.
My advice would be, though, be open to compromise. Be open to compromise. And you're like, they're not coming along with me 100%. Okay. Do you know what? Can we get them 95%?
Yeah.
Even if a part of that is just not ideal. Well, you've moved the dial on like 9/10 of things. Like, progress is progress at the end of the day, and you can work on stuff. And it might be that in the first term, you make a 20% move. We've tried that, and now cool. Okay, I've also been trying this with times tables. Should we give it a go? What do you do? We'll run it side by side. Oh, actually, at the end of Christmas, your class seems to be doing better at times tables.
We'll keep that.
Maybe that works. Great. Okay, cool.
Definitely.
We've not moved the dial. Not moving the dial doesn't mean failure. I think if you're in the right systems and do it the right way, not moving the dial can be a real positive sometimes.
A good thought experiment could be, for this person, other people in the same sort of situation, think about that teacher who's resistant to change, right? And I want you to think about their practice. Make sure you know their practice for a start. It's so easy to like get people's back up because they think, you don't even know what I do. Make sure you actually go and observe this person and see what they do. Look at their book. Like, find out exactly how they do things before you start saying everything they do is wrong.
Right.
And genuinely, because I think this will be true all the time, is 0% of what they do effective? Yeah. Because of course that's not going to be true.
Of course.
I want you as a leader to look at that person who you think are really resistant to change, and I do need to implement some of these changes for good reasons. Look at what they do and find the things that they're actually really good at and praise them for it and say, continue doing that. And here are the things we are going to change. Work with them. Don't work against them. They don't need to. They probably like that because they've experienced in the past too many times people coming in, don't really know anything they do and just saying, scrap everything you're doing, do this now. Well, why? What I'm doing is really effective. Don't care. Do this now. And they're annoyed. They get their back up because they think people just change stuff for the sake of it. But if you go in and say, wow, that works really well, like you said, there's your compromise. That works really well. I'm going to implement that in with our policy. I want everyone to start doing what you're doing here. But here's another thing I've seen from another good teacher or part of my policy that I really want to implement this as well. Can you give it a go? And you'll find that you can just make change more subtly that you think is good, like that, and doing everything you've said as well. So
I really like how you press next on the PowerPoint. Keep pressing next on PowerPoints, but here's all the PowerPoints you use for now, and here's how you teach. But keep pressing. The way you press next on that PowerPoint is so good. Well done, you.
Yeah. Next tip: don't be patronising. Don't find genuinely good things. Don't just say you walk around the room with such grace. Where'd you get those shoes? I'm gonna make a policy for shoes at school because everyone should be wearing those shoes because the shoes you walk in are bloody fantastic.
They're Crocs. Right.
Yes, Crocs.
Very comfortable.
Yeah, that was an interesting question. That one. I
Really,
like that chat.
really good question. Let's do another one.
Yeah.
When visiting a new school for interview, what key things should I look out for, and should I ask to make sure that it's a good place to work? Oh, I love this question so much.
Can
Go
teachers
on.
wear Crocs at this school? That's number one. I honestly think that. Can
Do you
teachers
know
wear
what?
Crocs?
You say number one. Do we number things when it's just one of them?
Just
That's
one
it.
thing. If
That
they
is
can
it.
wear Crocs, then you know it's a good place.
Can you?
Go on,
teach
you
to
start.
wear Crocs?
You seem passionate and excited.
No, the reason I love this is because I think it's so important for especially new teachers to be equipped with these ideas. And the first thing I'll say to you is, how do I put this? You can go and look around a school, and there are certain things that schools can put on, lie about, exaggerate, make sound good. And there are certain things that you can't fake.
Right.
So what I would say to you is, if you're walking around with the head teacher of a school and the head teacher is going on about how amazing life is for the staff and how brilliant the children enjoy themselves, and it's just you and the head teacher walking through the corridor, take it with a pinch of salt, because literally anyone can say that. I'm not saying they're wrong,
No.
but what I'm saying is it doesn't mean they're right. There's things that you can put lip service to make sound amazing, okay? So when it's with that, still ask those questions. Still say, what's your policy when it comes to marking? Still ask about, do the children enjoy school? Still ask about the timetable. Still ask what's expected from staff. Do you have to run clubs and things like this? Because it's hard to barefaced lie and say, no, we don't expect clubs of our teachers. And then you join and it's like, oh, no, actually we did. I just lied to you.
Yeah.
That won't tend to happen.
Yeah.
So this, I'd still ask all those questions, but I'd steer people in a direction of, what can you not pretend? What can you not put on for a walk around? And for me, I say this all the time, it really is the way that people, and I say people because I mean everyone, every single role an adult has, and every single child, how do they interact with each other? How do they naturally interact and talk and treat each other? Because I don't think you can fake that. And for me personally, this is one string, okay? Because we talked about workload a million times, and that can be separate.
Yeah.
But I do find that if you go into a school and, the site manager is in the office with the office staff, and a teaching assistant walks in and there's a child delivering the register, just look at that. It's small things like the office staff being really jolly and happy with the kids. The teaching assistant saying, "Oh, you're right, mate," to the site manager. "How you doing?" Having a chat.
Camaraderie.
Just I really think that is such a green flag in places where, no matter where you are on the spectrum in terms of what you might say is traditionally a hierarchy in a school, does it feel like the interactions between people transcend that? Because you might get really nice conversations between three teachers who are sat together. That doesn't tell me much. It's nice, it's great. But then when the head teacher walks in with you for a tour, how do they react?
Yeah.
Is it relaxed and like, hey guys, how you doing? That's nice. Oh yeah, brilliant. Oh, nice one. Yeah. Or is it, you notice the shoulders go up and like, oh God, I've got to get back to work. Because, what's that like? What's the dynamic like? Does the head teacher know the children? Does he walk past the corridor and the kid opens the door for them and they go, "Oh, thanks, Frankie." Just things like that. And this is the reason I love this question, because schools are unbelievable places to work in when you're in the right school. The sense of community is unbelievable. It's genuinely one of the best parts of the job. Honestly, I'd love it so much, where you just feel like a team. And I think when different members of the staff team and different children and all the roles come together and just have this balance and equity, I love that. And I think, I want to be part of that team. So that's a huge thing for me, I'd say. Maybe you can go into some more hardcore stuff that actually is, what workload, etc. is. But I think unless that's right, I'm not bothered about working in the school.
I was going to say, and it was one of your last ones, the biggest one for me, so I'll just summarize it quickly because you basically said it, is how people respond when the people that are showing you around walk in the room.
Yeah.
That one to me is like,
Why do you think that's key? What does that show you?
It shows what kind of relationship the staff have with their superiors. And I think that's really important in education, where it is the tens of thousands of people are leaving this job all the time. There are lots of toxic places, and workload can be dire so easily in so many places. Seeing how your head teacher and the staff respond to each other and just react, like you said, if they're getting their shoulders up, or if a teacher looks like they're getting nervous when you walk in their classroom, Yeah, it might be just because they just get a bit nervous when anyone comes in. But if it happens like 17 times, you go in all these different classrooms, I would be thinking, I wonder why that is.
But then they go to the assistant head's office, hey, my guy, and they're already batting.
Yeah,
it stands out, doesn't it?
It does stand out, and that is genuinely like the biggest thing for me. Is literally that, like you said, because it's hard to fake people's reactions to how people. Because I can think of a school I worked in right now where if the head teacher came round, I would be sweating.
Yeah.
Because I'd be thinking all they want to do is catch me out, and and make me feel rubbish. And I can think of a school I've worked in where if the head teacher came in, all I'd be thinking is how can I have some banter with them right now with the class, because the class will love it. Get them involved for a few seconds.
Yeah.
And then they're going to go away and do something else. Like, and it's just, I like having them in the classroom.
Yeah.
It's another body. It's another, it's fun.
Yeah.
And you could so easily, if I was walking around, and looking at myself in those two situations, I could very quickly tell which school I would not want to be working in, clearly isn't very nice, and which school is probably quite a nice place to work in. But obviously, on top of all that, you would just be asking the good questions, like you said at the start. Just literally find out as much as you can without being too over the top, because I think there can be a point where someone might be like, crikey, just ask a few key questions about workload, what the policies are like, what's the corridor display, like, looking around the corridor displays. Oh, these are really nice. How do these, what's your sort of policy on this? Oh, well, once a term we give our TAs a day out, and they come around and whip up some displays. Oh, fantastic. Yeah. Or, we just expect our teachers to change them every 2 weeks. Ah, okay. Interesting. Interesting different responses there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so true.
Stuff like that. You just find out little bits about the workload and the policies that you can, and then just make an informed decision. Get the feel for the school, a few legitimate questions, put it all together. Yeah, and trust your gut. Genuinely trust your gut. And if you get the opportunity, most of the time you won't get this opportunity, so it's easy to say. If you get the opportunity to actually talk to a member of staff,
oh my god, exactly what I was about to say.
If you can actually not in the little group, and then just being robotic. Oh yes, we love doing this. Gun to the back. We love being prodded. We love the workload policy here is great. An actual conversation. You just say to them, oh, what's it like working here? Thinking about applying. Yeah. Is it a nice place to work? Like, what's your work life?
Have you watched the film Get Out?
Yeah,
where the guy goes to the family reunion, and then there's one just guy like crying, like, "This is a great place to be."
Yeah, I have seen that. It's a good film. Yeah, so
I agree
lots
completely.
to think about, isn't there? Really,
talk to people. That's the best thing. And someone once said, would asking this question put people off hiring me? And I always think about that. I'm like, it's so interesting, because there's clearly two ways you can go about it that are just legitimate, which is, yeah, do you know what? Pushing too much about how little work you want to do at the weekend might put you off getting the job.
Yeah.
But my thought is always, if that puts off someone hiring me, then I don't want to work for them. There is a line that you have to decide personally where you think, is that a reasonable question to ask? Do I really need to know this? Like, is it a deal breaker? Because if it's a deal breaker and it makes them not want to hire you because you asked it, well, it's a deal breaker. So you don't want to work there.
Deal is broke.
Right. So you need to think where that line is for you. Because
that's true.
There might be certain things where you're like, oh, ideally that, but do you know what? I just want to get my foot in the door. In general, I see all these pros and cons. You're never going to find a school which is 100% pros.
No, of course not.
Never, ever going to happen.
No.
So yeah.
But there is a fine line, I think, between, again, just being a little bit, I don't know, just not painting yourself in the best light. Even if some of those questions are good, it might, if someone asks 5 questions in a row, and the first one was, do you have to mark much here? And the next one is all the planning provided for us? Yeah. And the next one, and it's all questions like that like you said,
be sensible,
make you sound like you just don't want to do any work, even though they're probably realistically just reasonable questions to ask. If you ask 5 in a row, I can understand why some leaders might be a bit like, just a bit put off, just about your personality, just thinking, why are they obsessed with these things, and just like, okay, like you don't seem like a good person to have. I don't know.
That's true. It's true. You have to balance what your perception is, what you actually are, and what you need to know before going in for a role. Yeah. Because the amount of people I hear about who get a job and they go in and it's very different to what they thought it would be. That's how I'd finish off answering this question, is like, no matter what you do, it will still have differences when it comes to getting into the school. Yeah.
Right, Dylan, I think that's it. We've run out of time. We've had some great questions today. Continue to write these questions in. Don't forget to share the podcast.
It's not that easy, is it, doing a sign-off?
You will normally do this.
Easy. So I've got thrown over to you there.
I wanted to say like and subscribe, but it's not YouTube. So
it is on YouTube.
It is YouTube as well.
So you've no idea what you're talking about.
I'm really messing this up,
Stop
Dylan.
talking. Guys,
take over.
Despite this absolute car crash of the ending of the episode, please do leave us a review wherever you get your podcast. Send it to someone who might find it useful. And as always, my last question, Hayden, anything to say before we finish?
I just want to say you're really good at doing the end of the podcast. Please can you do it every single time. See you guys next time.